seems the Democratic Alliance embroiled in yet another questionable appointment in the city of Tshwane. The South African Qualifications Authority says Tshwane acting city manager Previn Govender studied at an unregistered institution. His qualifications have not been verified by that body. Our reporter Aldrin Sampear is in Soweto. That's where the DA is launching their 2019 elections poster. He joins us now live. Aldrin, it is well and truly election year. It's only the 3rd of January and the campaigning has begun.
Well, certainly, and we know the campaigning started back in 2018, and now the campaigning is obviously in full swing. It's January the 3rd, as you've indicated, but yet you have parties like the DA that are in full swing ahead of the May elections. Listen, a date has not even been set as yet as to when the elections will be taking place, but I guess the DA, as part of their strategy, is that they want to win over the hearts of the electorate, and quite specifically a place like Soweto, where we are at the moment, and where a poster has been unveiled by the DA, is Soweto, a population of a couple of millions of people, voters here in this region that played quite a critical role during the local government elections, and I guess that the DA would like to grow further in this area, Soweto quite specifically. Let me just bring in the leader of the DA, Musimamani, who joins us right now. Why Soweto?
Firstly, Soweto is an incredible township with all of its history, with all of its background. It's home for me, but also what's also important is that Soweto is right here where too many of our people are going to end up here unemployed. We've got matriculants finishing school. They'll get their results tonight. But ask yourself the question of those matriculants who pass, how many of them will find a job? If 4 out of 10 adults in this country don't work, that's something that should keep all of us awake. So we want to ask the people of Soweto that let's come out in our numbers, especially here for the purpose of Gauteng, to bring the change that can build one South Africa for all, a country that is inclusive for all our citizens, to create work for our people, make sure people are safe. And coming out of Soweto, there's a historic moment here in 2019 that we can build from.
This area, quite specifically Soweto, is home to millions of South Africans, and also home to some immigrants, some illegal immigrants for that matter. And something that the DA has been, something that people have criticized the DA over is this policy and trying to push this policy around how to deal with illegal immigrants. What's your message when it comes to that?
For a country to work, you need to always ensure that there's a rule of law. Everybody has to be registered. So all we're asking for is that we secure our borders so that the rights of every citizen is protected, whether foreign, whether South African. Those rights must be protected. Therefore, I think the anger of the people of Soweto, let's speak on behalf of the people. They are saying to us, none of us are xenophobic. None of us hate foreigners. All we're asking for is for proper registration. And as a leader from Soweto, I think the people of Soweto have the right to ask their government for that. When you go to the Home Affairs, you discover very quickly that actually people are not registered. When you go to our borders, people are moving in and out without proper registration. And as the residents of Soweto, I think they're well within their right to ask for their government to make sure that we secure their rights, we make sure we secure the borders, and that in fact we register people in all communities.
As a party that campaigns on non-racialism, what do you make of the Clifton incident? What should have happened, and how do you make of, or what do you make of how this issue has been dealt with by the city?
Well, I think what's most crucial is the fact that, and we are all experienced to this thing, where there's a failure of national policing, now it's the SAPs who are in control, and there's no security on beaches. Clearly, when citizens then got a private security company, that private security company acted wrongly. Our beaches are homes for all our people. Everybody in South Africa. That's what freedom is. Freedom, obviously, is protected by the rule of law. And therefore, we must ensure that what happens at a beach is legal, but all citizens are welcome there. And therefore, the mayor of Cape Town went there. He made and ensured that everybody's rights was protected there. And as a city, we responded in a crisis that was created by a private company. We will always stand to build one South Africa for all. I want all our citizens, black, white, Indian and colored, to enjoy their beaches. This is our country. It's all of our country. And for us to work together, we will make sure that the rules are applied fairly to everybody, regardless of the color of your skin, and that we stand united as a country against those who seek to divide the people. There were too many people who wanted to divide and say black people, white people. There's no such a policy. It was outlawed in '94. All beaches are for all people, and the rule of law must apply to everybody.
The rule of law must apply to everyone. Should the city not also lay charges against the private company, this PPA, because the city at least is saying that it will be laying charges against some of these protesters for contravening the bylaws of the municipality and also for the slaughtering of the sheep?
Always remember, private security companies are regulated at a national level. The city's already taken action against it. The contract behind this private security company has been terminated, and we'll take all actions in there. Always remember, our dream is that for everybody to be able to work together. To do that, it's not to suggest that the law doesn't apply. There are bylaws. They happen in all communities, in all townships. And therefore, I really do believe what's more serious and going forward is that as we build this South Africa, the laws must be applied. They must be applied for all citizens. And therefore, you can't say people must commit any crime they so wish. We must protect the law, but we are committed, always will be, to this dream of one South Africa for all.
Well, the leader of the DA, Musimamani, thank you so much for your time. Can we just quickly call the city mayor of Tshwane, who is here, the executive mayor? Just need him to quickly respond to these allegations that have been raised by the ANC. Previn, why is he the acting manager when there are questions around his qualification?
Well, thank you very much, Clement.
Aldrin, it's Aldrin.
Sorry. The ANC has behaved in a schizophrenic manner. We've seen the ANC, and now when you're doing interviews, you need to ask them, which ANC am I talking to? Because you have the ANC that goes and says, we need to protect black excellency, when we are bringing issues to say there are concerns that we need to address, and for us to address, let's suspend individuals so that we can investigate and deal with matters. And they say, no, you cannot. And then the same group will come back again and say, but why are you then allowing this to happen? So it was very interesting to see on the 31st of December when they heard that the party, the crossover party has been put off because the procurement was done late or hadn't been signed. They are the ones who are jumping up and down and saying why didn't the city manager sign? While in November, in our report that we sent to them, we said procurement processes have been delayed over and over again. This man is not signing documents, and now we need to suspend so that we are able to then deal with matters going forward. They say no, and now they are the ones who are crying again. So now this is a typical political game that they're playing, but they forget that there is actually records to show that they have been inconsistent in how they've been dealing with this matter.
But why is Previn Govender still the acting manager, city manager? If you know that there are questions around his qualification, why didn't you block that as the executive mayor?
Right. What happens, Clement, is that I am responsible for appointment of the city manager. And after that, what happens is that the city manager is responsible for appointing and ensuring that whoever is acting in his position, gets to be appointed whenever he's on leave. So that is something that we've already raised. But then we cannot do anything because council is not in sitting. So I need to then take the matter to council for us to be able to deal with the matter in council. Council was in recession. I couldn't deal with the matter. We are taking the matter again now in January, and it will be interesting to see how the ANC react. Will they react like they reacted last year twice when we brought the report to council to say let's deal with this matter in council and make sure that we get the right people to do what needs to happen, or are they going to then again flip-flop on the issue and then we have no solution going forward?
Is your answer then that your hands are tied?
No, my answer is this. We are taking a report to council.
But right now he's the acting manager. Is your answer that your hands are tight at this moment?
Right now he's the acting manager appointed accordingly by the city manager, whose responsibility it is to ensure that somebody is appointed. My responsibility is to write the report, take it to council, and council must make a decision. That's what needs to happen, and that's what the law of South Africa says.
Well, thank you so much. There you have it from the mayor of the city of Tshwane. The ANC, of course, have raised some issues around the appointment of the acting manager, Previn Govender, who still remains in the position up until the mayor then writes. I guess up until Musola comes back. I think it's on the 10th of January. And the mayor has indicated that he will be writing to council with regards to this decision that has now been taken. And, of course, it's something that we're watching closely. And you mustn't forget that this man is running to become the premier of this province.
All right, well, thanks very much for that, Aldrin Sampear, live to us there from Soweto.